I am Crystal Llewellyn, and I am the owner of Crystal's Weighted Products. I grew up in Burke County, and my mom put us kids in 4-H, and we learned how to sew, bake, and cook. And after that, I just loved it so much. That's all I wanted to do. High school was miserable for me because I had a learning disability and I was bullied for it. So I dropped out and made my own way. In my 30s, I didn't like where my life was going, so I decided to change it and started reading self-help books, hanging out with positive people, turned to God, and went back and got my high school diploma. Once I got my high school diploma, I got my dream job at Easterseals working with handicapped children, which I've always wanted to do. One of my Easterseals moms told me about weighted blankets, and she asked me if I could make one because she learned how I could sew. The first weighted blanket was not easy to make because the beads and the poly pellets that go inside I kept running over them with my needle and breaking my needle. I had to make 4 blankets before it actually worked. The little girl that I was working with Easterseals had autism, and she had a hard time sleeping. The first night she slept, she was asleep in 10 minutes. And before that, it'd take her 2 to 3 hours to get to sleep, and she would not stay asleep. With the weighted blanket, now she stays asleep. I thought it was just a fluke that it worked for this little girl, so after doing some research, I tried them out on other people with PTSD, ADHD, anxiety disorder, sleep disorder, and realized that these really do work. I was still having a hard time believing that these weighted blankets worked, so I was giving the weighted blankets away for free. I didn't want to start a business as saying that they worked and not having my own research to see if they really did work. I really didn't want to make it into a business, but I could not help but help people, so I decided I was going to make it into a business. And it just kind of started on its own. Each blanket is determined by the weight of each individual that uses the blanket. It's 10% of everybody's body weight. So if you have a 140-pound person, the blanket's going to be 14 pounds. If you have a 200-pound person, the blanket's going to be 20 pounds. If you have a 40-pound child, the blanket should be 4 pounds, but I always add 2 extra pounds so they have room to grow for a few years and the parents don't waste their money. Most sizes for kids are 56 inches long, and for adults, the largest I make is twin. Most of the fabrics I use is cotton, flannel, and the Minky fabric, which all kids like because it's super soft. If you're worried about getting hot, it's not the weight that goes inside the blanket that makes you hot, it's the fabric you choose. I use the best beads, poly pellets. They're non-toxic, they're clear, and they're smooth. You can wash on gentle cycle and dry it on low heat. Once I have all the materials, it takes at least a week to get a blanket done. I've made over 600 blankets. The process is you decide what you would like for a design. I take those ideas to the fabric store, take pictures of fabric at the fabric store, send you the pictures so you can choose. Once it's paid for, you can have the blanket in a week. If you or someone you love is suffering from PTSD, restless leg syndrome, anxiety, or sleep disorder, these blankets could be the answer to your problem.